Massive explosions lit up the night sky in Lebanon as IDF warplanes hit Hezbollah weapons warehouses, leading to dozens of secondary explosions as Hezbollah's ammunition went up in smoke. Several senior Hezbollah operatives were also eliminated in these strikes, which effectively call Hezbollah's bluff and might even preempt any plans that they had to attack Israel in the near future. Meanwhile, Hamas announced today that it accepts responsibility for the attempted mass attack in Tel Aviv, saying that the operation was carried out with the assistance of Palestinian Islamic Jihad. They also threatened to return to the tactics of launching suicide bombing attacks in Tel Aviv, as they did during the Second Intifada. In the Gaza Strip, the bodies of 6 Israeli hostages were rescued by the IDF in the Khan Yunis area, and the 1.5-kilometer-long tunnel and an active compound of Hamas were found and demolished. Let's dive into the details. I'm Yair Pinto, and this is your Boots on the Ground report about what is happening in Israel on the 319th day of the war against Hamas, Hezbollah, Iran, and all its terror proxies in Yemen, Iraq, and Syria. The week began with Hezbollah doing some big talking, posting a video of their impressive tunnel network, which contains missiles that can threaten Israel and which can give it many advantages in a battle against the Jewish state. This video was meant as a warning to Israel about how strong and dangerous Hezbollah is. On Monday evening, Israel conveyed a message of its own to Hezbollah and all of our other enemies as well as our friends, but not by posting a video. Instead, the message came in the form of a massive air attack on Hezbollah weapons warehouses in and around Baalbek, which is 80 kilometers north of the border with Israel. The bunker featured in the Hezbollah video was among these targets that were hit, and I would say there's a lesson to be learned from that. In any case, the night sky was lit up for hours after the Israeli strike by the fires and secondary explosions as rockets and other ammunitions, which were meant to explode in Israeli communities in the Galilee, blew up right there in the Hezbollah bunker complex instead. In related news, the Air Force carried out a strike in the area of Deir Kanon in southern Lebanon, resulting in the elimination of Hussein Ali Hussein, who, according to IDF intelligence, was the main terrorist in the rocket and missile unit in the Yair area. Hezbollah also admitted that 2 other operatives, Abbas Badei Melhem and Muhammad Ali Hassan, were eliminated by an IDF drone strike around the same time. The IDF also hit Hezbollah positions in and around the Aita el-Shayeb area in southern Lebanon. It is important to understand that Hezbollah is not merely a terrorist organization. It is literally a state within a state, a non-governmental organization within Lebanon that has more capacity to act like a government than the internationally recognized government of Lebanon. Hezbollah performs many functions as a state of the Shiite community in southern Lebanon, including tax collection, law enforcement, distribution of welfare payments, etc. But of course, its main activities are in the military realm, and that's why they are of high interest to Israel. That having been said, it's important to point out that the IDF's Northern Command is not just making random moves. They are proceeding according to a step-by-step plan meant to weaken Hezbollah and set the stage so that in the event of a full-scale war against this terrorist organization, Israel will have the advantage. The first step was the removal of the anti-tank systems and Radwan forces formations from the border. These forces, which have been steadily building up on the border for several years now, in violation of UN Security Council Resolution 1701, were meant to menace the border communities and eventually carry out October 7th style attacks against Israelis. That was the most immediate problem on the border, and it has now been pushed back. The next step was when the IDF acted against the Hezbollah command structures. As of Monday evening, it is confirmed that 417 Hezbollah terrorists have been eliminated since October 8th of last year, high percentage of which are field commanders and senior operatives. Now, it's time for the third step in the plan, to increase the tempo of attacks on Hezbollah weapons stockpiles. Israel knows where most of Hezbollah's ammunition is stored, and the plan is to destroy as much of it as possible so that it cannot be used against us in the future. With everything that is going on in Israel and the rapid pace of events, it's important that you stay tuned to the truth in real time. We at TBN Israel have opened a channel that updates you in real time about what is happening in Israel. So look for TBN Israel on social media platforms and stay up to date in real time about the truth. Switching our focus now to the attempted mass casualty terrorist attack in Tel Aviv on Sunday. The police and the Shin Bet officially confirmed Monday morning that it was an attack after Hamas claimed responsibility for it. The first priority of the police is to find the lab where the explosives were manufactured. Then they will try to determine if this was meant to be a suicide attack or if the backpack was filled with explosives and was meant to be placed in a crowded area and detonated remotely. The police have been reviewing security camera footage from the area around where the bomb was detonated, probably by accident. The hope is to find footage of the bomber receiving his backpack filled with explosives from another party, which would allow the police to begin searching for them. Based on the time and location of the attack, the working assumption is that the intended target of this attack was the crowds coming out of a soccer game at the Bloomfield Stadium in Tel Aviv. However, police cautioned that this is just a speculation at this point. Switching our focus to events in Judea and Samaria. Early Tuesday morning, a force from the Special Elite Unit Duvdevan of the IDF went into action in the Kasbah of Nablus. There was an exchange of fire between the IDF troops and terror suspects, and according to Palestinian sources, 4 suspects were wounded. Further security operations in Judea and Samaria are to be expected as the search for the source of the terror attack in Tel Aviv continues. Speaking of terrorism in Tel Aviv or anywhere else in Israel, the first response to any such attack will be made by the paramedics of Magen David Adom. All Israelis know that whenever there is a terrorist attack, a natural disaster, a car accident, or any other medical emergency, Magen David Adom will be there to take care of the wounded. This amazing organization is the first line of defense against any kind of emergency, and they rely entirely on donations. So if you want to support them, you can do so by clicking the donation link on the description of this YouTube. Switching our focus once again to the Gaza Strip. Overnight Monday, a joint IDF and ISA operation led to the recovery of the bodies of 6 Israeli hostages held in Gaza by Hamas. The names of these hostages are Yair Buchstav, Alexander Dansiag, Avraham Monder, Yoram Metzger, Nadav Popilawel, and Chaim Perry. Their remains were recovered from a Hamas tunnel in Khan Yunis. The rescue operation was conducted under the command of the 98th Division and carried out by the Paratroopers Brigade, Yalom Unit, and the 75th Battalion, along with the ISA forces. It was enabled by precise intelligence from the ISA, IDF intelligence units, and the IDF Intelligence Directorate Hostage Headquarters. Following an identification procedure that was carried out by the National Institute of Forensic Medicine and the Israel Police, the IDF Manpower Directorate's hostage team, which is responsible for accompanying the families of the hostages, notified their families and communities on Tuesday morning. The IDF and the ISA sent their heartfelt condolences to the families. They also affirmed that they are continuing to deploy all operational and intelligence means in order to fulfill the supreme national mission of bringing back all the hostages. It is also important to mention that these hostages were taken alive into the Gaza Strip on October 7th, and they died in captivity. Hamas is responsible for this, and it will not be forgotten. At this point, there are still no further details. We will continue and update you later. We embrace the families and continue to be with them and by their side. We are facing a hostage exchange deal that is at a crucial level of negotiations at the moment. I'll say more about that at the end of this report. In related news, the IDF revealed that on Monday, an underground tunnel of about 1.5 kilometers long which is about a mile, was destroyed in the Khan Yunis area after it has been inspected and found to contain large stockpiles of weapons, ammunition, and equipment. The forces of the 7th Brigade Combat Team have expanded their operations in the Gaza Strip to include incursions into Khan Yunis and the outskirts of Deir el-Balah. During the last few days, towers and buildings that were used by Hamas in the Nusirat neighborhood in the Gaza Strip were demolished. Also, in the activity in the Tel el-Sultan area in Rafah, combat teams of the 162 Division demolished several tunnels while many terrorists were eliminated in exchanges of fire with IDF troops. The Air Force has also carried out dozens of targeted strikes on Hamas positions. The 252nd Division, which lost 2 of its soldiers on Monday in a bomb explosion on an IDF supply convoy, continues to operate in the central corridor of the Gaza Strip. According to the IDF, terrorists launched rockets from the south of the Gaza Strip towards the territory of Israel yesterday. The launchers were located near 2 schools, a cemetery, and a field hospital, which was used by the civilian population in the Gaza Strip. So please help us spread the truth by sharing this video on YouTube and subscribing to this YouTube channel. Israel is not only under kinetic attacks by Iranian proxy groups, it is also under rhetorical and media attacks by Iran itself. Iran's network of influencers and media puppets are carrying out a sophisticated campaign of fake news and disinformation designed to turn people against the Jewish state. Here at TBN Israel, we're trying to push back against this campaign of lies and deceit with the truth. And for that, we need your help. So please click the follow button and subscribe to this YouTube channel so that together we can share the truth as far as possible. Now, as promised, we have some updates about the efforts to reach a deal which will allow the remaining Israeli hostages to be released. United States Secretary of State Antony Blinken held a press conference on Monday evening at the Kapinski Hotel in Tel Aviv, in which he referred to the summary of his short visit to Israel against the background of the continuation of negotiations for a ceasefire and a hostage deal. He noted that in the meeting that he had with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, the latter confirmed that Israel accepts the mediation proposal that was presented by the United States at the summit in Doha. And now, Hamas should do the same. During the press conference, Netanyahu also spoke about the meeting with Blinken. Today, I had a good and important meeting with the Secretary of State, he said. I really appreciate the effort that the United States invests in regional defense against the Iranian axis. This is of course important to the state of Israel. He noted that he also very much appreciates the understanding that the United States has shown to our vital security interests during our joint efforts to bring about the release of the Israeli hostages. The terrorist organization's statements contained crude propaganda against Israel, but in general, they said that they do not accept the terms of the deal at the moment. Meanwhile, a working-level delegation consisting of representatives of the Shin Bet, the IDF, and the coordinator of government operations in the territories left for Cairo. A source familiar with the negotiations said that the situation is now complex and delicate, and 2 days of patience is required to see developments. According to this source, it is clear that without a compromise on Netanyahu's part, there will be no deal. An Israeli official claimed that Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar is likely hoping that a regional war will break out between Israel and all of Iran's proxies, including Hezbollah. This would save him from having to make any compromises with Israel. So here at TBN Israel, we will continue to update you about what is happening in Israel, in this region, with all the developing parts and the moving aspects of this situation. In conclusion, I want to pay my last respects to 2 heroes who fell defending the state of Israel. Mahmoud Amaria, 45 years of age, from Avtin, who served as the tracker for the Utzvat Baram unit. He was killed on Monday by a Hezbollah-launched UAV explosion that struck Moshav Ya'ara in the Western Galilee. That's an Israeli community. Also, Lieutenant Shachar Ben Nun, 21 years of age, from Petah Tikva, fell in the battle in southern Gaza on Monday. I also want to pay my respects and condolences to the families of the hostages who received the terrible news that Hamas murdered their loved ones in captivity in the Gaza Strip. So please pray with me for the strength of love and peace, for the families of the hostages. Pray for the remaining hostages to be healthy and to be released soon from captivity back to Israel. Pray for the IDF soldiers. Pray for the people of Israel. And most importantly, don't forget to pray for the peace of Israel and the peace of Jerusalem.
Hello, this is Mati here in Jerusalem with TBN Israel.
This is Yair Pinto from TBN Israel here in Jerusalem. TBN Israel is keeping viewers informed with Israel-focused news, culture, and what God is doing in this land.
Support TBN Israel today online at tbn.org/Israel. Thank you.